sit down, you try to breathe deeply, you close your eyes, and you wait for that calm to arrive. You wait and you wait, but somehow your body is still in this state where it's buzzing, your mind is still running about all the things you haven't done. And when you go to a yoga class, they just tell you breathe deeply, meditate every day, rest more. And you can't really seem to find your breath when your nervous system is already flooded. It needs a sequence, a set sequence, not this inspirational quote that just sounds nice and could be put on top of a sticky note on your fridge. Today, I'm going to give you the exact 7 steps to help you with this specific kind of overwhelm, and I know you know what I'm talking about, where you just can't seem to settle down and do a single thing. You know that feeling when you feel like everything is going wrong and you open up your phone and you just start scrolling for a bit and you realize, oh wait, I left something in the other room, and you just have this frantic energy. That frantic energy is just your body looking to discharge all of that excess energy. Now, you don't have to start finding guided meditations on YouTube. Your nervous system is just flooded at the moment. And a flooded system will not and cannot respond to gentle instructions. You'll just get frustrated with the teacher's voice. You'll feel totally put off by the whole thing, and you may not ever do yoga again because it actually needs something different entirely. Let me tell you what that something else is before you look at that side tab and look at another video and scroll away. The real problem is that most wellness teachers assume that you're mostly in a calm, neutral state, and then you show up for this yoga class. Maybe you're mildly stressed, maybe there's a bit of tension in your shoulders, but when you come to the class, they immediately ask you to sit cross-legged just like me, meditate on this visual of a flower or whatever bizarre stuff they ask you to do these days, and you're there sitting wait a minute. I'm clearly not there, and this is not where most people are. We're just coming off the tube, we've had a full day at work, maybe we've been dealing with toddlers all day, whatever it is, you're not arriving to a yoga class already calm, already regulated, and when your nervous system is flooded, you've crossed a certain threshold. You're in this state called hyperarousal, and your prefrontal cortex, this part of your brain that's usually responsible for rational thought, for self-regulation, basically all the things that make you sane, that part of you is actually literally offline. So the part of your brain that would normally hear the instruction, just breathe and relax your whole body, that can't actually execute the task. You can't just relax your whole body because that part of you is literally not available to you. And that disconnection between the mind and the body is what we're going to talk about today. And how we're going to fix it is actually by bypassing the mind entirely. It's like trying to sit down and load a website when there's no internet connection, right? So you can press the refresh button 1,000 times over and over again, and it will not load until the internet connection is restored first. Doing a meditation without this requisite preparation is like trying to refresh that page. And so you need to connect your body and mind first through a structured physiological intervention that actually interrupts those thought loops. And so working with the body's most primitive regulatory systems, we first start there, and then we can work our way up to fixing thought patterns. And so this is precisely what the Ashtanga method at its core was actually designed to do. And the full Trishtana protocol, which is the breath, the bandha, and the Drishti, I'm going to repeat this 1,000 times on this channel, but this is the core of it, right? It's a structured, sequential, somatic intervention. And each of these 3 elements is so beautifully tied together inside this practice that it actually helps you regulate your nervous system. Look, there are many different types of modalities out there and approaches that can help you with this kind of nervous system regulation. But what makes Ashtanga so different and ideal for the flooded nervous system is the sequence, the fixed, non-negotiable order in which the poses are presented. Now, this is what helps you with that intense sense of nervous system regulation. And that certainty, the structure, that's exactly what your nervous system needs to switch off the threat detection that it almost primally has, and we're almost wired with it as we're born into this world. And so here are the 7 steps without further ado. The first one, before you do anything else, before you start breathing, before you start movement, before anything that anybody tells you, you must remove the stimulus. This is called Pratyahara, which is basically the withdrawal of the senses. It is one of the limbs in the Patanjali's 8-limb path. So put your phone down, leave it in another room if you can, and nothing that follows even works if you skip this first step. So put the damn phone away. I know I'm supposed to be all yogic and calm here, but put it away. Trust me, it'll just help you because you can't get anything done if your phone is with you. Next, cold water splash. Now, I'm not asking you to go do an ice bath, sauna plunge thing. I'm just telling you, put your face down, splash your face 20 to 30 seconds. This triggers this mammalian drive reflex, which is one of the oldest and most hardwired responses in the human nervous system. When you can get your heart rate to really, really slow down, your parasympathetic nervous system comes alive, and this immediate sense of just waking up, it bypasses the thinking self. And that's what we need, right? We need things that can work with the body directly, because remember, your prefrontal cortex is literally not available to you. And so if you think of all of these yogis who went to the Ganga and got these morning dips, it wasn't just ritualistic, it was actually a physiological primer for the other more advanced yogic practices. Now you've done this, now you've woken up your body, you put your phone away. Now, and only now, you start to train the breath. It's a simple old Ujjayi breath. You gently constrict the base of the throat and you create this deep and resonant sound. 12 rounds, that is all. Stop breathing after that, that's fine. If you stop breathing, you stop living. But anyway, okay guys, fantastic. So you've put your phone in the other room, you've splashed your face with cold water, and you sat down or you stood up and you did those 12 Ujjayi breaths. Next, I want you to choose just one point in your environment. Now, it can be a little spot on the wall, it can be an object across the room, it can be a candle flame. It's just this soft focus, not this staring, like trying to figure out what this thing is. It's just for you to hold it steady for about 60 seconds without letting your eyes scan or do anything else. It's like putting blinders on a horse. And when your nervous system perceives a threat, then your eyes begin to move faster. When you hear some noises, then you start to shift around. And if you ever catch yourself scanning in a busy environment, it's because your visual system is one of the most direct pathways to that threat detection center in your brain. And so fixing your gaze on a single drishti, on a single point, and telling yourself there is no active threat in this moment, in the present moment. I have seen what I need to see. I don't need to scan my environment. There is no danger. That is the practice of Drishti. And this is actually the second pillar of our Trishtana that we talked about. But more importantly for you, it's a neurological tool that's available to you right now in this moment, or in any moment for that matter. And so once you have your eyes locked in, I want you to gently engage your Mula bandha. Now, this is a very esoteric one. It's this subtle lift and this gentle drawing in of your pelvic floor. It's not this forceful grip like, you're forcing yourself not to pee. It's a soft and conscious activation. I want you to just be able to maintain it for a few seconds, because the pelvic floor has these nerves that essentially connect directly to the sacral parasympathetic center in our brains. And so this part of your brain is essentially your own calming system inside your brain. And so when you gently engage that part, it's almost like you're sending a signal to your brain that you found your own internal anchor point. And this is what matters the most for a flooded nervous system. When your threat detection system is active and your awareness is being pushed outwards, instead of scanning the environment for danger, you give your brain somewhere internal to orient, to anchor, to rest. And this is what the Ashtanga path has always been training. For all of these years of practicing different sequences, I've been training this underneath all of the crazy postures. And so the wellness world, even though it presents it as some hard, rigorous practice, it's actually the most important. So now that we've sharpened the knife, now it's time to cut down the tree. Movement. 5 sun salutations. No more, no less. Every single movement, I want you to assign the movement to the breath. So you don't need to personalize this. You don't need to start adding interesting flows. You just need to match the breath with the movement. So as you inhale, you lift. As you exhale, you fold. every single time. There's no negotiation. This is the mechanism. That fixed, memorized sequence of postures in the sun salutation is like a prayer to yourself. It removes this decision-making thing from your prefrontal cortex. When your cognitive load is so high and you can't do anything else, that's exactly what your brain needs. It already knows what's coming next. And that prediction is certain. Because you can certainly know what's coming next, your nervous system knows with absolute reliability that it doesn't have to scan for danger. It has nothing left to monitor. It stops scanning, it stops doing, it can just rest. And then it starts to come back to itself. It starts to come back online really slowly. And so you're re-establishing that mind-body connection. And this is why the Ashtanga sequence is fixed. It's not like it's just traditional and it's like, something that's never improvised. It's that certainty is what is needed for a flooded nervous system. The repetition is not some ancient rigid thing. That is the medicine. That is the tool. And now finally, the 7th step is you lie down. Everyone's favorite, Shavasana. Just simply notice what is happening in your body without trying to change it, without getting fidgety. I know that's the hardest part, but for 5 minutes, just try and stay empty, as if it was the moment before you actually died. And after practicing these 6 steps, it would have somewhere shifted or changed your physiological state. And now your nervous system needs to consolidate this new baseline. And this is what all the wellness bros like Andrew Huberman and all the others say. They call it NDSR, which is like non-sleep deep rest. And it's this way of integrating everything before the old pattern starts to reassert itself. And I know you might be tempted, but if you're actively telling yourself to relax or you're scanning for whether that state of calm has arisen, checking whether, you need to be better or you need to be doing it with some kind of technique, just don't do all of that because it's going to undo the previous work of all the other steps. You can't get this wrong. It's like you're doing nothing on purpose. And this is the hardest one of this entire protocol. But it's also the most important. It's the one that you absolutely cannot miss. And so this posture of Shavasana, is the final pose of every single Ashtanga practice. And this is where most people kind of get up and walk away without actually giving it enough time. But then they walk into the day with that same sense of franticness. And it's not just resting or sleeping, it's anchoring this new state into your body. And this is why it's always been practiced last. It's always been practiced for longer and longer periods of time, because we want to let that stillness completely settle. And I want to tell you the story about how I built these 7 steps now that I've given them all to you. I was like so totally overwhelmed with everything in my life. I had too much coffee and I had very little sleep, and I had a full day of like classes and stuff ahead of me. And I did these 7 steps, these exact 7 steps. And it took me about 20 minutes, and my living room was still messy, the dishes were still dirty, and I didn't feel this sense of calm in the way all this wellness content markets to you. I didn't float out of my living room into the rest of my day. I didn't feel like crazy blissful or anything like that. I felt grounded, like the flow existed beneath my feet again, and I could put my weight on it, and I could trust the flow to actually hold me. And this is what regulation actually feels like. Not floating, not feeling blissful, just landing. And so every single step that I gave you today came from that moment or my own experience, of what I needed in order to shift out of that flooded state. And in that room, I realized, wow, this could be a video. This could be something I could share with others. And that's why it's now a video. But if this protocol speaks to something that you've been looking for and you recognize the state and you want to understand your own nervous system pattern more specifically, I've put together a little free quiz that will show you exactly where your nervous system is getting stuck and what type of reset protocol you can do for the next 7 days. It even gives you like a little mind-body graphic. It took me a long time to make it. It only takes 2 minutes to go through the entire quiz. The link is obviously in the description below. I will leave it there and also in the pinned comment in case you can't find it. But look, even if you don't end up doing that and you end up carrying on with your day, here's what I actually want you to take away from this video. The solution to a flooded nervous system is not gentle, soft music, meditation. It's a structured sequence. It's a way of withdrawing the senses. It's having the breath bandhas and drishti locked down, doing movement in a way that actually locks these like underlying elements in properly so that you can actually take that into the rest of your day and shift out of that state of dysregulation much quicker. And these are not new ideas. I didn't come up with them. They are like thousands of years old, and they've simply been waiting for a moment when you actually needed them so that you can use them properly or listen to this knowledge properly. And so you're not broken, nothing is wrong with you, your nervous system is just flooded, and what you have now is a simple 7-step process that works with you, not against you. Thank you so much for watching till the very end. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.